was doing a PhD when I was teaching, which is very much on this. How do you politicize engineering college students? Because you're an English teacher, I was an English teacher. So when you're an English teacher, what do? You have 45 minutes. The students are all yours, right? And I think it's very interesting because I was in a lot of people know Bell Hooks, the American scholar, as a theorist of a lot of things, but she's also a cultural, somebody who wrote a lot on pedagogy. And one of the things she says is, how do you teach to transgress? How do you teach them to think differently? How do you teach them to challenge things? So I think I'll send you at some point an article I wrote for Frontline, which is 4 or 5 pages long, on how I thought the classroom has to be changed. But I agree with you broadly, because the thing is that the assumption from the syllabus is that the classroom is a site of homogeneity. But actually, the engineering college classroom is the absolute site of heterogeneity. Everybody is coming from different places. Somebody's a first generation learner, somebody's an NRI student. So I think that we have to address these differences, and we'll have to make sure that our learning in some way is aligned to all of these differences also. So so I think that this is something that we have to radically transform the classroom, as long as we allow to do that. As long as we fill the syllabus. The necessity. For instance, if we talk about passive voice, one of the things we teach engineering students, or teach science students, is why do you write about an experiment in the passive voice? But it's an opportunity to also tell them that how passive voice reporting is one way in which, let's say, Israel bombing Palestinians is hidden, right? Like, you're like, oh, so many people dead, you don't write about who killed them or what happened. So I think that it's how do we politicize. I think it's really, a lot of it belongs to the teacher, and until the day you get called into the vice chancellor's office, I think you are free. But that's been my that's been my motto as a teacher. So thank you to everybody. There was a lovely question on what should a writer do for the next generation. I think the next generation will take care of us like that. I genuinely don't have trust in my generation. We are very weak people, but
according to you, what should be the objective of a writer towards the next generation in preserving human rights?
no, the objective of the writer, I don't know. I think the writer should encourage the next generation, possibly, but also the writer should be optimistic about the young generation. Like, we cannot say, oh, we know everything. I think the young have a lot to teach us about everything: organizing, about sharing, about taking care of each other. One of the big things that young people are doing is talking about mental health. Nobody talks about used to talk about, it's a shame to go and say you're feeling sad. Like, I think young people have shattered that. Like, you can talk about your feelings, and that's big. I think with young people, the other thing I feel they have really shattered is the work life balance. Young people are not bothered to work. All of us were overperforming in order to get what we got. Young people are like, yeah, they know the boundaries. So I think that in so many ways we are learning from them. So that's it. Thank you.